regarding the rules of election season. I was contacted by someone that follows the show and asked, was I encouraging people not to vote? And the answer is no. That's not what my intent is. If I came across like that, you misheard me. I will not apologize. I said whatever you believe in. If you believe the vote is the key, then you need to get out there and vote properly and not throw your vote away. I want people to understand that voting is not the end all and be all. It is the beginning of the process. If you believe that the vote is the key, if you believe voting is the key or a part of the key, then you have to understand that the vote is merely the first step in the process. Because you give these politicians your vote, you give these elected officials your vote, and then you let them off the hook. Just like they come to you election year begging for your vote, you make sure once you give them your vote and they get in office that you hold their feet to the fire. And all the promises that they gave you, they follow up on. They promise you money for your school. You contact them. You make sure they're doing their job and keeping the promises that they said that they would do if you gave them your vote. The social program that they promised, the police reform, the prison reform, whatever it is that they promised you, you make sure that you're holding their feet to the fire. If you're going to vote, make your vote count. It only counts when you follow up. Putting someone in office is not enough. Holding them accountable is the key. Once you elect them, that is the beginning of your process. That's the beginning of your political engagement, not the end all, not the culmination. This is what they want you to believe. This is why we're underserviced and underserved as a community, because a lot of these politicians won't come back to our community until election time once again. So again, I do appreciate people reaching out for clarity. Just like you check on me and check and make sure I'm saying what I'm saying, which I do appreciate, and I welcome. I appreciate it, because if I say something in error, I do want to be corrected, because we have enough misinformation, enough bad information going out to our community that I don't want to be a part of the problem. So again, if you're going to vote, that is step one. That's step one. Not the last step, it's step one. That's step one, casting your vote. Holding that politician, that elected official, to account for what they promised you when they came asking for your vote. That's the next step. Following up, letting them know that they can be voted out the same way that they were voted in. The same way that they got in, if they don't do the things that they need to do right now, don't come back looking for your vote in 2 years or 4 years when it's time for them to get voted back in again. That is the point of voting. Voting is again, and I keep saying it because I want people to understand, voting is the first step in your political process, not the last. It is the first. Because once you elect that person, he or she, to that office, you have to hold them accountable to you, because you voted for them to do the things that they said that they would do when they came asking for your vote. Okay? So now, you want to educate yourself on who you're voting for. You want to vote in every election, not just the presidential election, and think that that's the end all and be all. Because whoever you vote for needs help. If you vote for a Democrat and there's a Republican Senate and a Republican House, you won't be able to get anything done. If you vote Republican and it's a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, there's nothing that they can do because they're going to be blocked. So you have to vote in these midterms. You have to vote for your mayor. You have to vote for your district attorney. District attorney is an elected position. And these are the men and women that will decide sentencing on crimes that are committed, or so-called crimes that are committed in your area. And again, When you don't vote for them and you are a victim of this judicial system, you're doing yourself and your people a disservice. Again, voting is only the first step in anything that you do. Why vote for someone and then complain that they do nothing for you if you don't go back to them and hold them accountable? We have to unlearn some things that we have learned. Voting is a tool. It's merely a tool in the toolbox of things that we can do. This is why they do everything they can do to take your vote away. This is why they do everything they do that they can do to suppress your vote, closing polling places, poll taxes, requiring ungodly things for you to cast your vote. It is important, but it's only as important as you make it. Casting your vote for president is not enough. It's not enough. Casting your vote for president is not enough. You have to vote for your senators, your representatives, your mayors, your governors, your dog catchers, your council people, your county commissioners. These are the people that affect your everyday life and the laws where you live in. If you believe that voting is the way, then you need to be voting in every election. You need to be educating yourself on every elected position that there is. And once you cast your vote, you ought to be checking up on that joker that you gave your vote to, and make sure that they're not over-prosecuting your people. Make sure that they're not taking money out of your community and redirecting it somewhere else. Make sure that they're not over-policing your community, because that's not why you put them there, and that's not what they promised you. Again, this is how you vote. You hold them accountable. Voting, again, is the beginning of the process, not the ending. The beginning. And we have to always remember that. A lot of us will cast our votes and say, I voted for so-and-so for president. Hell, after that than anything. If you're going to vote, vote in every election. If you're going to vote, go to your city council meetings and find out what they're doing to your city. Find out what they're doing with your tax money. Find out why you can't get services in your community and they can't cross town. Find out. These are all public meetings. These are all public events for elected officials. If you're going to vote, make your vote count. If you're going to believe in this process, make your vote count. Join a group. Join a political action group. Start a political action group. And keep these elected officials in check. Because they're going to come back to you in 2 years when it's time to vote for them again. And if they haven't done anything that they promised you, the prior 2 years, you vote their butts out. You get somebody from amongst the people and run them for that same seat. This is what we have to teach our children. Don't complain about it. We can do something to fix it. There are enough of us in enough places that we can be the difference and make some changes in our community. But if you don't demand anything, you're not going to get anything. But another broken promise by these politicians. Another broken promise by a DA. Now I'm here to do it fairly while we go to jail at alarming rates. While our sentencing is much greater than that of those not in the black and brown community. But you voted them in, or you didn't vote at all in that election. Or it's only the mayor's race. It's only when a superintendent of the school. That's something that should have a turnout, just like a presidential election. The superintendent of the schools decides where the money goes in your community for your children. It decides which schools get what type of resources. And if your children are in school, in dilapidated schools with no books and no computers, and you didn't vote in the superintendent's race, shame on you. Because that's what it's for. That's what it's for. They count on low turnout Because low turnout means they can put in whoever they want. It's a shame when a mayoral race or a superintendent's race in a city as big as Dothan is decided by only 13,000 or so votes in total. The last mayoral race here in Dothan, I think there were a little over 13,000 votes cast. 13,000 votes cast in a city of over 60,000 people. Close, over 60,000 people. A total of a little over 13,000 votes. That's sad, people. If you're going to vote, you vote in every election. You vote at every level. That's how you change things. That's how you make a difference. Then you go to your city council, your county commission meetings, and you find out where the resources are going in your community. Why aren't they fixing your street? And in front of City Hall, they got brand new lights and trees. And you have potholes on your street. Poor sewage on your street. And downtown is looking beautiful as ever. While meantime, in the bottoms, sewage is backed up. While meanwhile in the bottoms there are no lights on some streets. Police everywhere, being over-policed, there are no jobs. This is why you vote, if you're going to vote, to change things. Voting for a president means nothing if you don't have clean water in your neighborhood. Electing the president that you want means nothing if you don't have fair housing where you live, if you don't have affordable electricity and utilities where you live. I voted for the president. Meanwhile, your city council is killing you. Meanwhile, your mayor is taking resources out of your community because you won't go vote in the local elections. Voting is very important. When done properly, it can be very effective. So I will say this to the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. Here locally, the same way. You hear from them during the presidential elections, the national elections. Why aren't they getting out to vote during the mayoral election? Why aren't they getting out to vote when it's time for city council? Because it's not important. It's not enough light for it. Politics start at home. Your local politics is going to affect your everyday life quicker than your national election. You'll feel it much quicker than you will on the national level. You'll feel it from the national. But when your mayor makes changes, when your city council makes changes and cuts programs, you're going to feel it right away. So get out there and vote, and that's step one. Step two is holding those people that you elect to these positions accountable. Join a group. Start a group. Start a political action group. Join a political action group. Go to your city council meeting. Go to your Democratic and Republican meeting. Go to whatever you believe in. Whatever party you fall under, independence, whatever. Be active in that. Because just to cast your vote and walk away is like throwing money out the window. Because you're paying for something and you're not getting any service in return.